Good evening and welcome to another exciting show. Oh, by the way, that was the Fog and Wall National Anthem. Should have saluted there. Oh,
there we go.
Otherwise known as Maud.
That's right. Now, you'll probably notice I'm looking a bit scruffy tonight because in this room where I am, it's now 31 degrees. So it's a bit warm. Your jacket on also. But tonight we're going to talk about A.M.B.E.O.
Man, 34. Look at that.
32.
Well, guests. I've got Yorkshire Deb and Deb.
An ordinary Deb.
Ordinary Deb.
Yorkshire and ordinary
Lancashire Deb.
Now, we've got some call outs to do, first of all.
Yes.
And we got Paul in New Zealand, who's Prince of Yorkshire Deb and everybody else. And he's a bit Tom and Dick at the moment. So, shall we go for the tinkly music? Hang on a minute. I've got the tinkly music. So, we're going to have some
lovely. Said, and a Jackie will be fine.
There we go.
Right, and then we've got John of Waltham Abbey. People thought it was John Heyman. No, it's John of Waltham Abbey, and he's a bit Tom and Dick. He's got problems with his ear hole. He's still got problems with his ear hole, and he's had the vacuum cleaner on it. He's had the lot, and Miles is working on it. He's cooled it down, but he said that they would take a long time to heal. And poor sod, he's not with it at the moment, and he's really getting him down, especially with this heat as well. So nice healing thoughts to Waltham Abbey, John. Here we go. Some nice. Right.
Actually, I could nod off now.
Let's get the proper. That's it. That's better now. Now, tonight we're talking about A.M.B.E.O. and people are thinking, what the bloody hell's A.M.B.E.O?
That's exactly what I thought.
Do you know what A.M.B.E.O is? Well, many years ago, and I'm trying to find it. It's on one of these, what do you call it, sticks?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm like a squirrel. I put things away safe, so safe I can't find them. So far, I've got my dad's second book, which I can't find, and I've actually got a book that I wrote about 20 years ago called A.M.B.E.O, and it stands for the Association of Master Bovine Excrement Observers.
Right.
And that is
Bullshitters.
Bullshitters. I wrote a book about bullshit because let's face it, if you want to look up a word, you look in a dictionary.
Yeah.
You look at an encyclopedia. There's no reference books for bullshit, is there?
No.
When you think about it. And in the work I was doing, there's loads of bullshitters. There's thousands of them. But you think about it, it's a sort of performance art. And I think that we should look at bullshit in the same way as an art critic. So if someone's bullshitting you, you sort of go, yes, yes. It's like sort of give them advice on how they can produce their bullshit. Because when you think about it, a lot of these bullshitters are living in a world that they want to live in and want to actually get you to believe that they're living in when they're not.
No, because they can't achieve it.
They can't achieve it. They're Walter Mitty's.
That's it in a nutshell. Yeah, Walter Mitty, that's an excellent way of...
Oh, yes, I've got a good story about that.
You've got a good story. I've got a good story. And I think Deb's got a good story. So who's going to go first with their bullshit story of bullshit and how we can actually improve? Because I want to get this book printed called A.M.B.E.O, the Association of Master Bovine Excrement Observers. As an observer, you sort of stand back as an art critic and think it could be a proper art form. They're actually giving you a personal presentation. You think about it. If you went to a theatre, you pay good money for the presentation, but you're getting it free of charge. So you ought to sort of show your gratitude for the bullshit this person put.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's what the TV's telling you every day, isn't it? They're selling you a story. Everyone's selling you a story, as I said before. Mine are more big. I would say mine were mostly Bigfoot related, but I know in the early days when I was researching, I used to get really passionate about outing a hoaxer. So making people understand that this person's just doing it for money or they're just doing it for this. And it doesn't matter how many times you out them or how many pieces of evidence you present, some people will carry on BSing, and people will subscribe to that BS no matter what. So you can only save a few people. I honestly believe, and this might be a little bit controversial, that some people are quite happy to be lied to, because that takes the onus or the responsibility off them.
Yeah.
So it wasn't my fault. You lied to me about that. You know, even though the gut's screaming it's not right, the head's screaming it's not right. It's a really easy way to bow out, you know. Yeah. I don't know if you remember the Irish guy, Deb. I can't give his name. But he went to the extremes of making it look like he'd actually been physically attacked by a big...
Yes.
Yeah. So he had a squashed can of Coke on his head or something along them there. Absolutely ridiculous. And basically what he was doing, he was just filming like a rhododendron bush in his garden, because all video and imagery has data, metadata. So when you check metadata, it takes you to where the image was taken. So he's basically standing in his garden telling them he's in this massive woodland in Ireland, and he's getting thousands of people subscribing all day long. And they could see it, and it became the emperor's new clothes.
Yeah.
So as each person could see yet another creature, then someone would validate that and say, yeah, I can see that as well.
Yeah.
You know, and that was at the time when I bowed out and I thought, you can't win them all, Deb.
That's it,
You do get them though. I mean, where I worked, I think there's something about architecture and freelance that attracts bullshitters. And I did a contract many years ago at Stanford Lee Hope. Now, we call it Stanford No Hope. If anybody hasn't been there, I'll describe the place to you. You drive for a couple of miles of sort of, you know, this Essex flat, swampy scrublands. All these pipes going everywhere because it's actually an oil refinery.
Yeah.
It's just up the road from Tilbury. And I think it used to belong to Shell. I think it's changed ownership now, I don't know. And there was an office block made in the 60s that literally stuck out like a sore thumb, sort of there. Yeah. That we were working from, that they was actually wanting to build, they wanted us to design a fireproof HQ, I suppose you could call it. So if all the oil terminals went up, people with this fireproof area, the fire brigade wouldn't worry about the oil terminals. That's too late. They'd be fighting to get to the command centre, and because they would be shutting off all the valves and this, that, and the other. I mean, I don't know much about the oil industry, but anyway. And did you know that they had wooden doors? Because if it was steel, it still would melt because of the heat of the fire.
Oh, right, yeah.
Wooden doors. And they had to make it an H-bomb proof shelter, you see. So anyway, on with the story. So there's all us contract blokes there. Now, there was an ace bullshitter, you see, complete. But the trouble is, you see, I don't mind people bullshitting because I kind of find it entertaining. Yeah. And I never try and trip them up. I try to encourage them. I like to hear more of their bullshit.
Wrong with it.
So I love to sort of pull it along. Come on, you know, more bullshit. But he used what I called, he's a prop bullshitter. So when he used props, he could see I was easygoing, and the three other people who could see through him, because it was like the 30-40-30 principle. 30% of people could see right through him, you see. And I was in my 30s at the time. He called me the lad. Not the lad, you see.
The lad.
I started a drawing instrument mail order business because, as a sideline, because you could buy drawing instruments. This is before computers had come in a big way in London. But when you're out of London in the sticks like Stanford No Hope, you couldn't get them. So you had to stock up. It's really difficult. Blokes had to sort of go into London, take it out to get those instruments and come back out again. You know, that's how you, because you didn't have eBay in those days and things like that. Yeah, anyway, on with the story. This character was what I call a multi-story, you see. So you have bullshit upon bullshit. Now remember, this is a shithole where we are. Right? And I'd had quite a few years contract under my belt by then. And you get to, because you're always in the firing line if you're freelance bloke. The idea is keep mouth shut, head down, you see. And there's the four of us that could see through him had been freelance for a number of years. Because after about 2 years, you get to know you suss out people pretty quick.
Yeah.
You got if your own survival. And this bloke, he lived in Colchester. Okay, lived in a 5 or 6. Now this is the story. 5 or 6 bedroom house in Colchester. He had to employ staff to look after the garden. Now with one of the contract blokes had a Porsche he drove. We were a bit flash gits, and I just had all this and 2-door sort of sedan. But this bloke drove. It had blue smoke coming out the back. It's like a clown car. It was. It had a different coloured wig on the front. It was old Ford with blue smoke coming out the back. But his Bentley was in the garage for repair, and they couldn't get the parts because it's such an expensive. And his son lent him the car. You know, it's his son's first car. You know, and of course his wife's car. She's using the Mercedes soft top. You know, during the day, you see. The many months we were there, his Bentley was never at the garage. But then it goes a bit further. You see, he owned a string of hotels in United Arab Emirates.
Oh,
yes, and this is the real crunch. And people were believing him. He hands round this expensive book on yachts, and you know those really luxurious yachts that you see in the south of France and that.
Millions of pounds worth of yachts.
Cross on it, and he says that's his yacht. You see,
Right.
See, so and this was the most expensive one. And what he does now, my knowledge of sailing is what Pedalo boat in the park. I think that's about the limit it goes to.
similar.
But I
Yeah.
do have to know that the Channel happens to be the most crowded waterway in the world, and he said that he puts his boat on automatic pilot, whatever you call it, and he does his drawing work as it's going across to France over the weekend.
Amazing.
I don't think so. Would you go across on a sailing yacht on automatic with all those big old tankers going across the coast?
Drug dealers and all kinds.
When I showed him the drawing instruments, now before I fully sussed him out, the first couple of days, he said, I was thinking, oh, because I found out I was a crap businessman. I'm the world's worst businessman, but I didn't know it at that time.
Oh, no.
Because I wanted a part-time business, because with me freelance, you've either got loads of work or nothing.
Yeah.
When you got nothing, you don't get paid, you see. And I thought I was on a cracking idea. No, computers came in and killed them. People didn't want drawing instruments. Anyway, that's another story. He chose the most expensive instrument. I think it was a couple of £100, you see. Ordered me that. Sonny, so what help the lad out? The lad, yeah.
Oh.
This. So I get him this drawing instrument, and I said, it'll be 100 and something. Yeah, pay you tomorrow. Tomorrow comes. Yeah, have you got the money? I said, I'll tell you. I said, oh, yeah, I'll pay you at the end of the week. The end of the week comes. I said, they got the money. F off.
Yeah.
History for the money. So what I did after about a month, I just lunchtime when he went out, I took it back.
Yeah.
But I couldn't even send it because he'd used it and he buggered it up because he didn't know how to use it. Anyway, that's the other thing. But anyway, me and the 3 other blokes who were getting all this all day, you know, about the yacht. The other one was how he advised the captain of the cross ferry, you know, the Channel ferry on a storm, how to sail the ship. You think there's a captain of the cross paddle ferry doing it every day of his life, and of course he has to.
Where's that bloke? It's emergency. Where is he?
Where is he? You know, but people were believing it. I couldn't believe it. They were actually believing it. And it was just sort of, and somebody found a coat hanger, and I said, "Oh, blimey, it's a hanger for his plane. He hasn't got a plane." I said, "Yeah, but it will have next week." Anyway, what happened is some bloke sitting behind me, because there's a fella behind me, and then he was behind the fella behind me. You see, so the poor sod behind me was hearing it all bloody day, all this. You see, so he walks in one day, this fella behind me. He says to this bullshitter, "Where is your yacht moored up?" I said, "I was in Norfolk." Yeah. What harbour? And this sort of comes out. I can't remember. Some harbour. He said, "What a coincidence! My uncle's the harbour master. He knows everybody there." Hang on a minute. He picks up the phone. Yeah, he'll want to speak to you. He starts dialing a number. This bloke shoots. Must go to the lavatory. He's off to the loo. He's in there for ages. And the bloke puts the phone down. I said, "That is an amazing coincidence, isn't it?" He said, "It would be if it's true." What? He said, it's bullshit. He said, I was phoning my wife. She's in on it. And she'd have just said, he said, I knew I wouldn't handle the phone over to it. But she'd have just said, oh, I'm his secretary. He's not there at the moment or something like that. So she was in on it. But he said, yeah, he dialed just the number and he was off. Anyway, he came back sheepishly. He said, oh, and as he walked back, he said, I ain't got time to speak to any harbour masters and all that. And we sort of agreed.
Funnily enough.
Or I'd have followed him home.
Sorry?
Followed him home. I'm not saying I'm a stalker, but I would have followed him home.
Yeah.
Would you really? Well, I found out something about a bit more because there was a bloke that lived up in near Yarmouth, and we found out his address.
Right.
Flat and put shit up it. He was a Walter Mitty, this bloke.
Yeah.
And it turns out because when you're freelance, you have to have your own limited company, which is a bit weird because you are the sole employee of your own.
Yeah, same. I'm in the same position.
Yeah. And people say, hang on, you're self-employed? No, I'm an employee, but I'm an employer as well. Who you employed? Me. It turns out he was agency bloke. That was his first contract. And he was PAY.
That's ridiculous.
Of course, he felt outdone by everybody, so he was bullshitting.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah, that's his personal choice. That's his personal choice to feel that bitter and enraged, isn't it?
Yeah, he was actually talking to me, the lad. I was the lad. Oh, and the other thing he did, you had to be really careful. You come along and he'd alter your drawing. And you come back, you think, what's going on here? Yeah, I know it's a mistake, but, you know, no, it's a huge mistake. And he'd do that, and he did that to 3 of us.
Yeah, they call them. There's an actual psychological term for it, Chris. They call right men, and the moment that they are no longer right, everything falls apart around them. Yeah. So they have to control every single molecular second of their life. And if they don't do that, he could have gone into that with the idea of, all right, I'm not as educated as these guys I'm about to work with. We're going to learn some stuff. And I'm going to have the man clearly had a very sad life.
But he was actually the oldest one there. He must have been close to retirement.
Probably what he was.
And I think he'd had a permanent job all his life, was probably got made redundant, was boring as shit, and decided to go freelance. But was a bit worried about getting a limited company, so he did PAYE. But why didn't anybody else? The main question, if he had staff dealing with his detached house and all that, why is he working in a shithole in Essex? Yeah. Why did he need to work in this shithole? And I might work with another bloke like that, but he didn't use props. What I mean, so he wasn't condescending to you. This bloke was condescending to you, but I didn't give a shit really. But this, because I'm just easy go. I don't sort it, you know. But the thing is, they're very clever because they know who's easygoing, who they can use as props. But this chap didn't use props, and the secretary said, how do you tolerate that all day? I said, I enjoy it. I think it's fun. I said, I try and wind him up. I try and do more bullshit so he can bullshit on bullshit. I don't,
but guess what he said now?
They've got to have good memories and they only got bad memories. So but you don't trip them up at all. You let them keep bullshitting because it's fun, because it's entertaining.
They're all a bit bigger.
Yeah.
I've had people who have emailed me and pretended to be a different person than the email me on the last time. The same email address. And when you point at no, been hacked. No, it doesn't work like that. That's not how it works, I'm afraid. Yeah. Oh, I've come across quite a few of them. Not just in the Bigfoot world, in life in general.
Yeah. We came across one on Codes of the Unknown. He swept in from, well, you know who I'm on about when I start talking about him. He swept in from nowhere, promised, he had a production company.
I know you mean. Yeah, I know you mean.
He had a radio, he owned a radio station that had 6 million viewers, something like that. All this marvellous stuff that he was promising. Yet, when we actually had him on the show to do some of the work on the show, he was sat in a back bedroom with his ironing board behind him. I'm like, right, so where's this studio then? Anyway, somebody that we knew did a bit of background digging, and he had about 98 listeners on his show. radio show. He wasn't. He was employed by these studios.
Yeah,
He didn't
yeah.
run the studios. He's tried to get everybody that he can that's got any influence. The only reason he got in touch with us was because we'd just started out and we were gullible.
I think that's why he came for me as well in the same way. I was lucky because you'd had a bad experience with him. So when he came to me, I was instantly like, I didn't like his energy to start with.
No.
And I don't like somebody who comes to me for a favour and makes it sound like he's doing me one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that's kind of how he did it. And he was, give me everything you've got.
Yes.
No, I won't. I've done it on my own for forever, and I'll do it on my own for the rest of forever.
Yeah. Well, that's what he did. That's what he did. And then he was coming out with all these fantastic stories about all this alien. His stepfather worked for the military.
Oh, right.
He got him a little job delivering like top secret things to these establishments, handcuffed to briefcases and all that kind of stuff. And then you drove into a shed in the middle of nowhere, and this shed went down. The floor went down 7 levels, and then you were going through all these streets, and there were things like another city underneath.
Oh,
and I'm like taking all this in, and I'm thinking this is ridiculous. And like I say, somebody that was on the team did a bit of background digging. No, you do not get a job by your stepfather in the military. You have to go through all this vetting and what have you. They're not just going to say, here you go, son, take this briefcase.
I know who you're talking about.
Tony's after the job. You got to go on Saturday.
Now, isn't it?
Yeah, send him down. I'll give him a day's work, see what he's like.
Yeah.
Now, actually, I think he's in prison now. I don't
think it's
this is a very low level. I know who you're talking about, the guy that's in prison. This is like, if he fell out of the tree and he just kept bouncing. And then there was a hill, and he went down that, and then there was a bit of a ravine, and he just kept bouncing. He's one of them where they want on your coattails so that you can carry him to the top. And what? The second you pull him, Deb, the second you peel that little corner, it erupts in aggression and you're a bully. You bullied me. That's normally the default setting. Oh, I've met a few of them.
The best part about it was, one of the areas that Andy goes and investigates, cemetery in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
When this bloke decided he'd used us all he could and got all the contacts he could off us, he said that he'd been told by somebody that he was close friends with in the military that we needed to stay away from this cemetery because it was under 24-hour surveillance by the military.
Okay.
The light that was in the Chapel of Rest was actually a security light. It was nothing to do with the fire light. It was a security light for the cameras that were keeping an eye on the cemetery. It's a cemetery in the middle of nowhere.
I think the army picks up, Deb. Where are they employing the staff? You know? Oh, I'll tell you a funny one, Chris. There was an entire YouTube channel devoted to these alien lights that were flashing Morse code at this lady that lived in Norway. And each night she'd go on and they'd send them a message and she would interpret this message and then share it with the world. And then this guy in the comments said, I think that's Scotland. And she was basically filming from the coast of Norway, the lights of Scotland, interpreting that language into alien message. Would she have it? And he's like, literally, I'm in the same street as you. What you are saying is the lights in Scotland. Oh, Deb. She had a complete meltdown on camera.
Well, the one I had, I used to do a radio show. By the way, I'm going to plug. I'm hoping to do another radio show, as well as this show, on Thursdays. But that'll be in a couple of weeks' time. And I won't say who he is, but I think he had a lot of stuff up his nose, shall we say.
Oh.
Well, the aliens, I went down free. I was in the military, and my family have all been in the military. And we saw these aliens, and I'm sort of almost losing the will to live. And you're seeing the audience figures going. I think there's one bloke and his dog listening, and he's full of us. The dog had as well. And this bloke, I think he's drugged out of his mind. Absolutely bonkers. But he didn't come over as that when he wanted to go on the show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's it. He wouldn't. it's part of it's like the psychopath, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah.
They wouldn't be able to infiltrate society if there weren't something about them that we would react as normal to.
Well, that's right. People do react to them. This is the most amazing thing. But the trouble is, those people make it bad for genuine people like yourself, because who are the press going to look at? They're going to look at the Norwegian nutter that's seen in Scotland.
Yeah.
They're not going to look at the genuine case of what you looked into, and they'll say, "Oh, Deborah Hatswell, she's talking to this person," and they'll go and interview her, saying, "Oh, yes, I can see these lights all over there, and they're sending me signals." No, that's in Scotland, you know.
I was just a part of the audience, but I think because I had the most subscribers, I was the bully. You see, I'd like to.
Oh, yeah.
And I think what the other thing that they do is sometimes some of your subscribers end up as your friends.
Yeah.
You actually come to like them over time. You know about them, you know about the children. So when you see somebody lying to that person, you think, no. And it's really hard in my position, because if I did it all of the time, people go, "Oh, she just don't like anybody." But I've been in business a long time, so you do see them. There was a guy with a dog, Chris, and he actually got people to send him money because his dog was really, really sick.
Oh, yeah.
And lots of people, I mean, I'm talking in the thousands, sent him money. And then unfortunately the dog passed away and they sent him money for that. And then he said that he wanted to make a memorial garden for the dog, and they sent him money for that. And I did a little bit of digging, and it wasn't even his dog, it was his neighbours next door.
Yeah.
And he was just borrowing it, walking across the road, standing in the wood, doing his little video. We're out looking for Sasquatch today. With his little dog Teddy, and the little dog Teddy was the draw. Because if you tell somebody an animal's in pain or an animal, they'll want to help. They genuinely.
That is terrible. That is making, that's profit.
Yeah, that's the other end of the spectrum, isn't it? I mean, you've got the art form, and then you've got some people who just do it because they are downright
evil.
Dishonest, just dishonest is the only word I can quote.
Yeah.
He could have got the same amount of YouTube likes and interaction by just showing the dog. People were really interested in the dog.
Yeah.
So he
kind of boring at first anyway, because that's why you have the dog, because the dog's more interesting.
So why shoot yourself in the foot like that? If people have connected to you enough that they want to send you money, just be honest with them and have a genuine connection with them,
Well,
this is why we need Vinny. We need Vinny on the case.
We need Vinny. By the way, we couldn't have any. We got another person. We're not a person. We got Vinny. Oh, is that is Vinny, in the late
Vinny
doll.
Pins in it, and that's good, isn't it?
That's bloody brilliant, that, Deb.
I've had him years. I've just found him again. He was in a box.
We need some healing, really. We need some healing thoughts for John Hamer's car.
Oh dear.
Yes, he was going to come on tonight, but his battery's gone kaput, and he's staying with some friends, and his battery's flat. So we've got to get that battery. It's arriving tomorrow. So healing thoughts for John's car. Can't do the human ones. Kind of, it's a car, isn't it?
Yeah.
So John couldn't come on. Shannon couldn't make it. Her computer's up the spout.
Right.
So. But, so when it says at the bottom here, Shannon and John, no, they'll be next week.
They're not there.
No, they're not there, Chris. It's fine.
So shall we go to chat? Because right now, let's have a look. We got here. We got all the way from Rugby. We got Bob. Hello, Bob. And we got from Alabama. I think you are John Badginglow. Hello, John. Whilst I replaced the brake pads and changed the oil on my pickup truck.
He's doing his truck while we're talking.
Yeah. The show should keep my mind pleasantly distractive while I wrench on my track. Is that nice? A truck. Yeah. Any American could have a truck. We have cars.
See, Richard saying his battery's flat and he hasn't even got a car. I feel a bit like that. Honest.
That's me today. Oh, there was horses laid down out there today, Deb. It was that one.
Bless him. Bob don't know what to do with himself in this weather.
No trees. There's just
really
up there. There's not a lot of shade.
All I wanted to do today is sleep. It was so hot. Then we've got here. What is it? Robbie Green. Hi, Chris and Deb. There's two
Oh,
Debs.
yeah.
Come back after such a great show last week. Oh, isn't that kind? Thank you so much. And we've got Joe Weeks. Hello.
Joe, yeah.
And we've got Robbie saying, was it now that all the important are here? Let's crack up. People are here. Oh, let's crack on. That's lovely, that is.
Oh, yes.
Have a look. So we got here Ancient Ruby. Hello, Ancient Ruby.
Ruby.
And then we've got, who else we got here?
Oh,
we've got loads of here. Oh, crumbs.
Hang
on, we got an advert for, it says here, great guest on Yorkshire Dev's COTU.
Oh, right. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Joe, absolutely brilliant.
So Friday, worth watching for anyone who has not seen it. Right, okay, quick plug. Okay, Deb, quick plug for it. Here we go. So Fridays on
every Friday on YouTube.
Yes.
We've got guests booked up till January now. But
I'm always in chat. I'm usually in chat modding with Joe. Yeah, she'll. If you've not been in before, just pop in. There's a lovely crowd that meet over there. Can I plug mine then, Chris?
Sorry?
Can I plug mine?
Certainly you can. Hang on. What time? First of all, Yorkshire, what time is yours on?
8 o'clock GMT every Friday. We are changing it in the new year to 7:30, but at the moment,
I've got guests booked up to January 2022. Sorry, no, I haven't. July 2022. Sorry, I think bullshit is contagious. I mean, I've been sitting here in my luxury.
That's how busy you get, believe me.
And if you've rubbed shoulders with a politician or say an estate agent, it's surprising how you can start bullshitting accidentally. You know, I mean, for example, you know, I was driving my Ferrari today. Oh, so I'm trying to see, I'm bullshitting again. It's smart car. Yeah.
A good whack every time you do it. Just take yourself off into a corner and slap yourself across the face as hard as you can.
Right. I mean, do you like my real Rolex watch by Casio? Oh, sorry.
You know, you were talking about watches, and somebody actually asked me, I'm glad you brought that up. Somebody actually sent me a really awful email this week and said that he hoped that the gold that I was wearing was worth it for the people that I'd had over for the money. And I didn't really understand that. And I thought, oh, it means my grandma's watch. Look at the sign. It's been stuck on that time since 1969 when I was 2.
Wow.
It's for me. And I remember, I thought, they must have already disliked me before they've made the decision that I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'm like this. I don't know. People don't send me money. They don't send me gold, unfortunately. No. Yeah, and I thought, I mean, you know, you get bullshitters, but you also get mean people. You just get people who don't like your success. They don't see the hard work that you put in.
Oh, it's a lot of hard work.
It's a lot goes into a live stream, isn't it, guys? You don't just turn up here at 5 to 8.
Yes.
You do the live stream and that's it, and it's dead easy like that. I work all week to put my Saturday one out.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
and also your watch that doesn't work is correct twice a day. So
exactly.
Also,
I can't wear a watch. I can't wear a watch, Chris. It won't stay. Regardless, I have a mad electricity thing, so
like that, yes.
Yeah, and my grandma was the same, so it was just fitting. And my mum said, "Oh, should I throw it away?" And I said, "No, I'll keep it." Yeah, because I can't keep a watch the right time anyway, so I just wear it as a bit of jewellery because it was my nan's. I remember the day that she was bought it because we were in Cornwall, and I was only about 3 or 4, something like that. And my granddad bought it off. So that's why I wear it, because of the memory that's attached to it, not because it's gold, because it probably is. My granddad, it's probably not gold.
Every day, was it 2:45 or something? It's stopped. 2:45 would be correct, won't it?
Yeah, just
that's it.
You wear it upside down. You know when you get up in the morning, Debbie, you put your wedding ring back on, don't you? Your glasses and my watch goes on. But it's just out of habit. I just wear it like jewellery. Yeah. But yeah, and I just thought, how mean.
Anyway, can we plug your show, Deb?
What I do on, I'm not doing live feeds at the minute, simply because my health is just off the charts. I'm on a new diabetic drug and it's not been great. So I can't kind of make a commitment date. I can't say, yeah, I'll definitely be there Tuesday at 8. Some days I'm just being sick all the time. So what I've done now is I've started, like you guys, I've got a lot of interviews that I've got booked up for months on end. So what I've done is I put them into a show for an hour, but I still open the chat box. So I'm there, I can answer any questions, and it's just a pre-record that's going of all the sighting reports that I've had since the previous week or whatever subject we're on that week. But if you're interested in it, it's 8 p.m. GMT on a Saturday on my channel. Last week, Deborah Hatswell, just put my name in, Deborah Hatswell. Last week we did feet that had been found in the UK. You'd like that one, Chris. Yes. 3 feet that were found in Bath with no DNA.
Now that's weird.
One found in February, one found in the July of that year, and one found in the August of that year. Not related to each other, within 100 yards of each other on that very posh street in Bath. And each one of those was male, but they did not have any DNA.
How can you not have DNA if there's flesh, bone, whatever? You extract DNA for the smallest part.
Or did they? I mean,
Chris, probably know, Chris, you'll know better than me. I'm sure you can get DNA from dinosaurs, can't you?
Of course you can.
I believe so, yeah. I mean,
so why not
DNA from almost anything, can't you? I mean,
Ruby's got a point.
For thousands of years, but I found a foot.
Chat me tonight, like, unfortunately. Let me.
Ruby's got a good point. She just said perhaps clones.
Hey, you didn't think of
it. Might be.
I hadn't thought of that, Ruby. That's something I could look into, isn't it? I never thought of that. And it happened again near the Humber.
Yes.
The police actually advertised for a female who possibly had her foot off in the last 12 months. Whether she'd realised it or not, I don't know.
You noticed.
They found one near a railway line in a small woodland. And then about 6 weeks later, they find another one. Not the same woman, different foot. So they're now looking for 2 women that have had the feet off without realising.
Isn't it always the left feet as well or something?
Yeah, something like left feet are found.
This is happening in... sorry, I don't mean to talk across you.
No, you're right. It came in as one case.
Pleiades in America in the national parks.
Oh, David Pleiades.
I think that's how it started for me. I was researching the Vancouver feet that washed up. There's 21 of them now that have washed up on one particular beach. And I thought, I wonder if there's any in England.
Yeah.
And I realised that I'd worked one case already, the Manchester Pusher case, where they'd found a lady's leg in the river in the Irwell. And then 2 years after, they found her other body parts about 30 miles upstream. Yeah. And I thought, wonder how many more cases are like that in the UK. And I looked, and I'm at about 12 now, where a single foot has been found, normally near waterways.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then a couple of them have been within the sock, within the shoe.
Now what makes me laugh is there's no suspicious circumstances either.
I meant to say, that's Deb's correct. I forgot to say, Chris, every one of the cases is marked as no suspicious circumstances.
How does that work?
There must be a low, because there's a Lee near where I live. There's a River Lee that goes into the River Stort, and there's quite a bit of creepy things going on there. I thought that's really strange. But back to chat. We're going to say good evening to Kim. Hello, Kim.
Hello, Kim.
And she's the lady with the what do you call it? No, she's not alcoholic. No, she's pick me up. Oh, what's it called? Forgotten it. Well, you put your tongue out and you put a droplets of this.
Oh, no. Back.
Well, anyway. No. Anyway, she's into homeopathic and that type. She's brilliant. Yes. She gave me this pick me up remedy, and I was
tincture.
Yeah, tincture
like that. And I put it on my tongue yesterday, and I felt instantly better.
Yeah.
And I know it's not psychosomatic.
It is. It's bark flower remedies.
Yes, things like that. What I was going to say, Deb, well, we haven't given you a call out because you're not very well, so we need to have some healing thoughts for you.
I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'm actually getting better though, Chris. It's kind of, when I'm going to explain it. Your entire life, you hope that they're going to invent this needle and they give it you and you'll never be fat again. And that's kind of what they've done. They've given it me. So I've lost the weight. I'm a lot healthier My blood sugars are fantastic. My kidney function's back up. I've no cholesterol anymore. I'm coming off my diabetic drugs. So in the long run, it is working. But unfortunately, in almost there's a lot of just nausea really associated with it.
Yeah,
you just don't feel like eating.
Might be a good idea. I mean, you heard of Miles? He's the natural practitioner. He's a doctor, Dr. Miles Fleetwood. You know, Abbey Health. Might be a good idea to give him a buzz, because I know that loads of people are phoning from all around the country, and he's really helpful. I mean, he's cured me.
you need to put an advert on for him.
Sorry?
Go on, Deb.
I'll put an advert on for him.
Chris needs to put an advert on for him.
Yeah, why not? Let's put an advert for him, shall we? So where are we? I've lost him. He's here somewhere.
He'll be in there somewhere.
He's here somewhere. Come on, Miles. Where are you, mate? Oh, here he is. A.M.B.E.O advert.
Come to A.M.B.E.O Health Foods for competitively priced vitamins, minerals, etc., plus free advice. And remember, free delivery within 6 feet of the A.M.B.E.O Health Food counter. Subject to availability, of course. Vitamins and minerals can be posted throughout the United Kingdom post-free with orders over £35. Subject to change, of course. Miles, the proprietor, is a qualified nutritionist, herbalist and acupuncturist. The main questions regarding acupuncture is, do you feel a prick? Well, I guess you may feel a little stupid. When phoning A.M.B.E.O Health Foods, please remember to tell them you saw their advert on this show. So telephone 01992 650014. That's 01992 650014.
That took me back.
And then
That's what we back. When I was a little girl, and you know, you used to go to the cinema, and they do that, and then the adverts come on. I used to feel like a princess because my granddad's scrapyard used to come on, and it,
Really?
Wow.
yeah, and you'd be like, "That's my granddad."
Oh,
That's something right back then. That advert was just a definite, wasn't it?
Yeah, Permanent Jean. But actually, Miles will be coming on the Thursday show.
Right.
Oh, brilliant! Right.
The Natural Wellbeing and Happiness show.
Oh,
Hey,
good.
that's good.
We was going to be the natural, the Natural Health and Happiness show, but we took health out and put well-being in. So it's a Natural Wellbeing and Happiness show.
Mm-hmm.
And there won't be any. I said I'll hold back on the toilet humour, but I'll be down a few quips.
Well, that'll make a change.
Yeah, that will make a change, won't it? But he's a bit of a laugh. But no, he's going to do all different things. You know, one of the shows is going to be. But he actually says that if you go to the pound shop and buy sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Cheap shops, you actually end up spending far more money because you'll probably get more of the tablet if you sniff the box.
Yeah.
Well, sniff the box, you probably you save your money. But no, his stuff, you think, oh, it's a bit expensive, but it really is the bee's knees. It's real good stuff. But back to the show. So wish you better, Deb. So here we go. Now we got here, and you can see we've got here. Oh, hang on, we got here VXRHSV. Is that your number plate? One of the good things about is I have lost touch with all the bullshitters in my life. I think.
Let me see clear out.
Everywhere else, and then we got here. Evening all. This is Richard on Solent. Yes. Have you got off of the Solent yet? Because you can go to Solent Watchers.
Your foot will be coming off before long.
Yeah. Evening all. Cole Pilkington was once asked by Ricky Gervais and Steve Merchant what superpower he'd like. He said he'd like to be bullshitter man and turn up next to such a person and say bullshit.
I mean, we're allowed. As functioning adults, you are allowed to say that's like a cool story.
Call them out.
We are allowed to. But sometimes, like Chris said, it's fun to let them just do it, innit? And just
Yeah, it is.
Well, I enjoy it. I mean, it's like trolls. I get a sense of power when deleting it, but they don't upset me. I find them funny because it's a very thick skin to them, and they just bounce off because they're sad.
They throw this insult at you, and they think you're gonna
Yeah,
somebody I don't know that I've never met in my life that doesn't care about me and doesn't pay me bills has said that about me. I'm not that type of woman. I think, I'll get in a keyboard war with someone if I'm having a petty day.
Right, it says here, for Richard says, greetings from a hot boulder overlooking Southampton water. Should have brought my bikini with me. Oh, you're into the trains do flop, are you? And all this?
Bikini.
I bet it's warm on Solent.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we're lucky around here because all the water's been passed by the local council, so it's all right.
Yeah. I've just seen that, actually. Ancient Ruby's just said, random science thought. Did you know that if you sniff chocolate for about 5 minutes, your brain tells you that you ate it? When I did Weight Watchers many years ago, the one thing I missed was Kit Kats. I had a thing about Kit Kats. And I used to sit and visualise that I was eating one from undoing the wrapper.
Right.
And I felt like I'd had one. Yeah. Worked every time.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what
Ruby's thing. I can't find it here, but it's probably near the bottom, isn't it?
It kind of tricks your brain, Deb. So it kind of tricks, it forces you into a healthy lifestyle. Because
it's all the time, though, isn't it?
Yeah. If you think,
health food, yeah. But you know these health food shops, I think they give you a refund if you enjoy the food.
Yeah.
I eat a pretty healthy diet. I mean, I do all right. I have I'm on my wild man diet again because that seems to work the best for me. So I'll have some protein, and you know when you do the plate, Deb, and you break it down. It's just you think, I could just eat, and then you just get this wave of sickness. So it's like permanent nausea. It's really, I don't know, it's really, really strange. But then you're kind of craving apples and healthy food. So I'm just being pedantic because I want to eat cake and ice cream, and my body's craving fruit.
Yeah.
I actually find if I look at a picture of Cliff Richard, it makes me nauseous. John, I almost want to throw up.
Let me nauseous.
Was it Robbie Green? Do you mean electromagnetic energy, Debbie?
Yeah.
Do you make electric circuits flicker? That's with your watch thing, yes. That's interesting.
I've got a scar on my lip there. I don't know if you can see it. I can't. It's mirrored, so I can't get to it. And that's I kissed my husband, and a blue spark shot between us, and it literally burnt my lip. It touched they're just asking me about my electromagnetic. What do I shock? I shock door handles, the car, the grandchildren, shopping trolleys, the train, the bus, any moving vehicle, anything made of metal.
Mum just found out being superconductive.
And then they put metal in my leg, which kind of ramps everything up again. So, because I've got titanium in my leg.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I do. It's always happened, Chris. It's happened my entire life.
I went to school with a boy that couldn't wear watches, and he had this problem. There's something about electromagnetism. Something it's very odd, isn't it? And is this also to do like a magnetic field? Because I walk around barefooted.
I do. Yeah, I can say that. I can do it with areas
around my house and that, but obviously not outside because you don't know what.
Oh, I do. I went out to get the bin this morning in my bare feet.
Yeah, I'm always in my bare feet.
Mind you, I went round to the letter and forgot that I hadn't put any shoes on. I went, oh, bugger, you know.
See, I'll use my feet to tell me things. So if I feel a bit wonky in an area, I can take my feet off and kind of ground myself, and it'll level you out a bit. But the electromagnetic thing, sometimes you actually feel like static electricity around you, and I don't really know how to describe that. It even has a smell. It's that smell, a thunderstorm, and right. Comment on it. People have commented on it before, but I remember being when you get your first job, and your first job, you get your first wage packet, and I wanted to go. I'd never been in Debenhams before. My parents didn't have any money, and I had quite a decent job even as a young kid. So I thought I'm going to go in Debenhams and buy myself a new frock. And as soon as I walked in, my hair stood on the end. It was the carpet. And it was my hair were up here, Chris, like, must have been 6 foot in the air, like I'd done that experiment at school. And I've never been so embarrassed in my life. And I just went
the balloon experiment.
right at the other. But yeah, I don't know. But it's always been like that.
Because that's really weird. Because I remember all years ago, I was at college, there was a nice old boy, he's a lecturer there, and he said that when he was a student, he was down in the West Country, and he said the old locals at the pub said, don't go underneath that box tree near the cemetery after a certain time because weird things happen.
Right.
Well, saying that to students is like a bread rag or a ball, so they decided to go and have a look. And what they discovered was this box tree would store up, there's a scientific reason, electromagnetic sort of during the day, and this energy would release at night. So as you walked under the box tree, your hair would stand up on end, and you'd feel sort of weird, which is a bit difficult for me for my hair to stand up on end because I ain't got any. But
it's an area called Box Hill, famous area called Box Hill, and it's called Box Hill because of those trees are there. And it's that's why it's called Box Hill. They were used a long time ago in carpentry, and I think that's possibly why there are so many strange reports at that hill itself that's surrounded by box.
That's interesting. It's just now Robbie's come up with this, and it was answered by Ruby, ancient Ruby. And it says here, there's something not right with that phrase. Everything has DNA, but if you're a clone, you don't.
No,
so
you won't be, because you've been made.
That hadn't entered my head. Like that's why you would do stuff like this, isn't it? So people give you a different opinion, a different idea, a different theory. That something just twinked in my head. Isn't that row famous for having doctors on it?
Yeah, I think so. In Bath.
Yeah,
I think so.
I could look that up, couldn't I?
Really? Because I don't trust doctors. I mean, most of them are pervy as hell.
Feet, clone, messing about with DNA. That's where I'd be looking. Private medicine.
What is it about feet and shoes in the missing? My son had contact with E.B.s, what are they?
Elemental beings.
In the 90s, and they always came with a handbag and shoes, even when then it was weird.
Yeah.
Like a simulation, does she mean?
Sorry?
That they would appear. Does she mean it like the simulation of them, Deb, that they'd have a handbag and shoe?
Possibly, yeah. That's
weird,
what I thought when I read it. She said it the other week as well, and I thought then that it was probably.
I've seen a woman that I don't know what words to give it. Almost slipped in and slipped out about 3 weeks ago. She was a perfectly normal woman, and I said to Mark, "Look at her over there. We're in cafe and have a brew." And do you know when your computer fizzes?
Yeah.
It was almost like, and I didn't know if. It really shook me up. So I took my glasses off, when you do that thing and you think, I'm just going to pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And it was just, it looked like she
fizzed.
Her around her almost fizzed, like she was tuning in and out.
Strange.
Now, Kim's come back. The word was...
Rescue remedy.
Thanks, Kim. And you're sitting there thinking, silly soddy, can't remember. I keep telling the bastard it's rescue remedy. I tell that bastard it's a rescue remedy, and he can't remember it. Silly old sod.
We'll write it on his head. Write it on his head for next week.
No, Deborah, Ruby's come back and said, no, they were greys. 3 of them came in a light into our home and they tried to take him.
Right.
I don't know why they're using handbags, though.
Now, this is interesting.
That's the hard bit. You get a little sentence and you're trying to work out what the actual experience was behind that.
Yeah.
I do that all the time because I'm trying to get my information off Really Crow. They made DNA.
If it's been in water for months at someone's foot, it'll be riddled with microorganisms. And orgasms as well, you never know.
Well,
they're made of DNA too. Sometimes you can't isolate residual human DNA from
the contaminants. Right.
Interesting.
Well, it's a variable that I can take into account, isn't it? We see how many of them have actually come from water.
Yeah.
See if any of them have got even potential freezer burn or fridge burn or anything like that, you know, if they've come from a mortuary or something.
Yeah.
It's a case I've only been working on for like the last month, so I've not managed to get really deep in.
Yeah.
Because we're packing the house up to move. I've not been very well. My daughter's moving as well, so it's just manic at the minute.
Yeah.
And then I want to have a look if any other limbs have been reported, so maybe an arm or something like that have been reported. Well, look at that next.
Yeah.
I'll let you into something here. I've told this before on a previous show a long time
Sorry,
ago.
I'm a bit sneezy.
Don't worry, I'm a bit sneezy today as well. And I think it's hay fever or something. I've been sneezing my head. But and also I'm a bit upset. There wasn't many chemtrails the other day, but they've made up for it today. They've been spraying like what's it? But I was going to say, when I worked in London, they used to have a magazine called Midweek, and students used to give out these magazines at the stations, you see. And they used to have Ms. London, which was all secretarial jobs in it for ladies that were freelance secretaries and things. But anyway, being a bloke, I wasn't really interested in Ms. London, but they used to give it to anybody. I was interested in this Week magazine because the journalism in it was good. I have to admit, it's very, very good. And it was freebie. And at the back, there was usually about 4 or 5 pages full of missing people.
Oh.
And it would go, and remember, this is London. Yeah. And it would say, and I'll never forget them, as a woman, she was married with 2 children, went out in her house slippers to nip down to the corner shop, never seen again. And there's another one, and always happily married. You know, they went to the station, went to work as normal, and people saw this person en route and suddenly just vanished.
It runs the 100,000.
Literally 4 pages.
Last time I checked, when I was doing the pusher, it was something like 183,000 people go missing in the UK each year, which is a ridiculous figure.
Sorry, can you give that figure again?
183,000 people go missing in England every year. Some of them are found, Chris, but that's what gets reported. But then you put on top of that all the people that aren't reported that go missing, the homeless, people who are on their own, that no one to report to, you see. And it is a very, very sad. Look at Zygmunt Adamski. He left his house to buy potatoes.
Yeah.
Went to the corner shop to buy potatoes. They didn't see him for 6 weeks. And the next time they saw him, he'd been dropped on top of a coal heap in the next town over with burns and a solution on him that they still can't name to this day.
No.
You know? And that's in a small town.
What about they got human mutilations as well now? With the jaw partly missing and things like that. Been around for ages. Now we got here Robbie Green. Hello, Robbie. No, the clone would still have DNA. DNA are the instructions to build all living things, including clones. Clones still require instructions to be built. That's interesting, Robbie. You've got a good point there. Yes, that's quite.
Would formaldehyde affect DNA?
I don't know.
Well, that's a point.
Ancient Ruby says, yes, Chris, they're pouring out the chemtrails here, and usually daily they start at 4 a.m. That's right, they do them at night now. So when you wake up, you know.
I was once on the back of the motorbike.
Yes.
And I was you don't have a lot to do on the back of a motorbike other than observe. So I was watching these 2 planes in the sky. They were just appearing as like silver planes, no markings or anything. They were quite high up, and they were puffing out chemtrails basically. And one of them got to a cloud, and just before it went into the cloud, it switched it off. And when it came back out of the cloud, switched it back on again.
Oh,
good.
If that isn't proof, what is?
You're right. Now, that is interesting. And also, back to the missing people, Ancient Ruby says, homeless are targets plus orphans to disappear. Yeah. Yes, I agree with you there. And Robbie has come back with, in this case, there's a misunderstanding because clones have DNA. Very good point. I think,
it's a subject that I don't know, unfortunately.
Yeah, and something is going to be very interesting. And hang on, we got V. McCrinnan's come back here. This is interesting. It says individual cells are made of DNA, clone cells included. A clone is just a creature generated from causing a cell to start subdividing and developing into a fetus.
So
Well,
like
that's what twins are clones, aren't they? And we're clones of our parents.
Yeah.
It's just a fact. It was a fascinating thing to be researching because I like researching things that are out of the box, you know.
Well, look at with missing people. You know the story of Dr. Barnardo's. Now, I can say this because it's actually in historical documents. Dr. Barnardo's was not a doctor. He called himself, but he wasn't a doctor. He did a little bit of training in it, but he dropped out. And he was in court a lot of times for actually kidnapping children who have parents that are alive and to try and ship them to Canada.
Yeah.
He wasn't such the nice man that you think he was.
No, I've heard that.
Yes, and this Dr. Barnardo's, as I say, he wasn't a doctor. And, I mean, I remember I was a kid, we always hit marbles and that. And yes, a lot of children go through Barnardo's and they do, you know, they have a good life, even though they're orphans. But kidnapping children that have got parents off the streets was a bit.
Like the child capture.
Yeah.
Yes, he wasn't. But this is quite interesting. I mean, back to bullshitology again. See, so hopefully I'll be able to publish my book one day, the A.M.B.E.O. And when you think about it, think how powerful a weapon bullshit is, because you couldn't have a war without bullshit, could you?
No.
Because it's one side bullshitting another side. And may the best bullshitters win.
Weapons than you.
We've got better bullshit than you. Yeah, you know.
The red button.
Of the day, underneath all of the noise, everything we fight about, what we kill fellow man about, is a difference of opinion.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
You give a small child one chocolate bar when there's two of them, and 9 times out of 10, that little boy will split that bar in half and give it to its friend. Yeah. It's only when you get to be adults that we turn to this. We must be right, because if I'm not right, my entire world falls apart around me. It's okay to be wrong. Yeah. It's okay to get things wrong. That's how we learn as a human being.
Yeah.
You know, we say to kids, oh, it's all right. You pick yourself up, get back on your bike, and away you go. But once you're not a child, it's why have you made a mistake?
Yeah.
Why have you not done everything perfectly? Well, sorry, I'm not as perfect as you are. I make a lot of bloody mistakes, mate. I'm still making them.
That's human nature.
Psychopaths divide people. I mean,
that's what it is. Divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer. Look at Ireland.
Yeah.
You had Ireland, which was a Catholic race. So what do? They put Protestants there. Then stir up trouble between the two. In South Africa, they stirred up troubles between the tribes. So whilst the tribes are fighting each other, they're not looking at what you're doing, are they? And this is what they do here.
Well, it worked for Romans. If you can get fractions arguing amongst themselves, so their eye is off the ball, really, really easy for you to come in with your agenda.
Yeah.
You know, strategy. A lot of people don't understand strategy, do they? But you don't just decide to have a war. There's a lot of thought goes into it. All the elites, they don't get any blood on their clothes. They sit down and come up with the strategize, don't they? That's what they do. And they send their men to the deaths because that's what they do.
And more people have been killed by their own governments than all the wars put together.
True, that.
I mean, if governments were a disease, they're absolutely lethal. Governments are. I mean, they are the most deadliest of the lot.
It's an impossible thing to fix, isn't it? Because you've got to find. It's really, really hard to find one person that's genuine.
Yeah.
That really wants to help. So to find an entire cabinet like that, it's a bit of an impossible ask, isn't it? You know.
Well, I don't believe in government. I mean, what do you think government?
I don't see why anybody should be able to rule over what I do. I'm not saying I want to go out willy-nilly and commit murder.
No.
As long as I don't do anything that harms anybody else and doesn't affect anybody else, I should be able to be left on my own to live as I like. I pay taxes. I pay my national insurance.
Most people, regardless of religion, nationality, anything like that, are generally good folk, really nice people. I've found that people are really nice until you get a government come along.
Yeah.
Then they start dividing people. And
how does that?
Sorry?
Power. Once people
No,
get into a position of power, they can change as a human.
Yeah.
But when you look at, for example, they call it the Wild West. Why do they call it the Wild West? Because that was a time
Ungoverned, yeah.
people were free. It wasn't wild, and there were very, very few outlaws, and the few that there were, that's what they report on. It's a bit like, you know, a dog bites man, that's not news. Man bites dog, that is news. That's it.
Yeah.
Now we go back into chat, shall we? He says here, what we got? You've answered the question. Weren't the Fashanu brothers,
Yeah.
Dr. Bernardo's
Oh,
boys, and
yeah,
you
they were.
answered the question in chat? Thanks, Deb. Yes, they were, so that's it. And we got here Robbie Green said, come back, says yes, but that's the point, Ruby. We would not know if they were clones, but they would still have DNA. That's
Yeah,
right.
that's enough.
And Ancient Ruby says, I've met entities of other worlds that function on electric liquid solution like LED.
Right?
Hmm,
I need to know more about that.
that's interesting. Yeah. It says here, hang on, what have we got here?
Oh, you missed the first bit. That's
Oh yeah,
it.
used to
But-
have two bullshit merchants at work. Someone said when they had a conversation, it was stereo bullshit. That's right. It's actually what I like it is when you get two bullshitters together. They sort of out bullshit each other.
Yeah.
I had a situation. Where was it now? Yeah, it was about a couple of months ago. I was caught short. I went shopping and I went to the public lavvy, you see, and I was just washing my hands there. And there's some teenage boys in there. Must have been about 16, 17. And they have the barrack room lawyer. You
Right.
see, the agony uncle. The agony uncle knows everything. And I was starting me a lick because I was trying to stop myself from laughing. Well, I don't know how to pull, but one of the blokes said, I'm not sure I like this girl or not. He said, so his mate said, well, you're lying. I'll be very polite here. You get her laid and then you pack her up, right? You know, and it's all sort of just. And this kid couldn't have been more than 15 or 16. I was saying, what's your mind?
Well, surprise.
But it's surprising how I think that people don't, with bullshit, I think there's a gene or something inside their head which does not make them grow up because it's still childish. I mean, all children, when you get to a teenage stage, you start bullshitting. And I think everybody goes through a phase of bullshitting, of being something that they're not. Tries to be.
I think boys do it more than girls.
Oh yeah, you're 100%. I think men are more verbal, women are more the show. Sort of, look at me, I'm attractive, you know. And the blokes all sort of. I mean, you heard the situation with my push bike. I've told this a lot of times. I always wanted a racing bike. To tell you that.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
gave me his racing bike. And I thought, hi, I think I'll get on my racing bike. Went round the corner also. Yeah. And the woman round the corner went, hello. And I went, hello, and fell arse over it. I sort of went out that high and came back that high.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I think that
some are harmless, aren't they? Some are just some people are comedy BSers. So they know that you know that they're BSing and they know that they're BSing, but it's a joke between you, and that's great. Yeah. But then you get the other side of things, don't you? That some people just genuinely believe what they say, and they look you right in the eye. Yeah. And swear on 17 Bibles, you know, and you think, but I know that you're lying to me. Kind of insults your intelligence a little bit. I've had one chap that you find this in more than just the Bigfoot world. You get it in all subjects, but one person will come to you with one experience and you take that, and they consistently will push it. So there's more and more and more and more and more, to the point that as they're walking the dog, they're now meeting government agents. Yeah. And government agents are giving them secrets. You know the type, that all of that. And then you just think, don't need to call you any names, but I'll just back away from you. And then they will message you and say, that wasn't me that messaged you. That was somebody else pretending to be me to get me into trouble.
Yeah.
And then it will even flip again, and then it'll go, no, that first one wasn't me, and that second one wasn't me. But this is really, really me now.
What are you talking about there? Yeah.
In the UFO world, I won't say who the name of the person is, but I do know who they are. They write loads of books, and they're always the same. I'm in contact with a very high-level government agent. Told me that. And it's always the same, but there isn't a ha'porth of evidence there. Nothing. I mean, anybody could say, I'm in touch with a government agent that's told me that Boris...
Show us the email. Show me the email. Show me the message. Yeah. Show me the phone call on your phone.
Yeah. And they never can. But you can write loads of books on it because you get contact with a senior, very... I can't mention, you see, a very senior person. I can never mention who it is. And that, to me, I think, yep, there's a bullshit. But you know that film Apocalypse Now, where he says, I love the smell of the palm in the morning. I love the smell of bullshit in the morning. That smell. You know?
Where are they meeting these government agencies? Because they're on YouTube all the time. They're secret government. You go like secret spies at hotmail.com. Gov.co or something like that. And then you just choose the one you want. Oh, I'll have him. You got me.
But you could, I mean, for example, the unidentified, I call them unidentified objects. I saw thousands of people saw it, and it was I was very young at the time. These lights in the sky, I don't know what they were, whether they were from the planet Zob or not. I do not know. All I saw were these weird lights whizzing backwards and forwards, but I can prove that I saw them because it's been written down. It was in the newspapers at the time. I could prove it. I wasn't, but let's face it, a lot of this you can make up if you've got a good imagination. You can make up a lot of it. You know, you can say, I was abducted last week and then I was dumped back and I lost time. Prove it. You can't.
Yeah.
And I think that
Claire, some of them have got to be doing that. Statistics tell us that some of them are swinging the lead, you know?
I just don't see the point other than bigging themselves up. But it, like you say, to be a liar, you've got to have a bloody good memory. And my
there's lots of things you notice because we don't just talk with our mouths. A lot of parallel linguistics go on with people. Yeah. And there's things that you can pick up on that just don't feel right. And you just think, oh, that was a bit of a red flag.
Yeah.
And then, like, I'll have people who'll send me a sighting report and they might write it out another 9 times before they're happy with it. And it's changed from there to there. Well, by the time I've got to 3, I'm done, mate. I just think I do give everybody the same benefit of the doubt that I would expect myself.
Yeah.
But if you're going to start changing major things, so we go from, say, you only saw its shadow in the woods to, and I am not lying to you now, we played football with it and we used our coats as goalposts. And that's changed within 9 essays.
Yeah.
You know, and all you can do is just delete the email and just back right off. Yeah. You know, you think you literally believe in this yourself.
Yeah.
But it's funny, you know, I said earlier about teenagers. When you get to teenagers, it's true. Boys do bullshit more than girls.
Yeah. It's a boys
because they teenage stage. It's always, hi ladies, look at me.
Yeah, it's always bravado, isn't it?
And their older brothers and society and everything else tells them that that's how they're supposed to be, you know. Yeah. And you know, it's society, isn't it?
Well, it is society, and you notice that the advertisers play on teenage insecurity. That's it, because you're very insecure as a teenager.
Yeah.
And I think that you know, and when you're younger, because you've got to get used to the body that you're in, because you notice that lots of teenagers feel uncomfortable in their own bodies until they get used to being in. Because I think there is a possibility of. You know, reincarnation. I don't know. You know, it's but poor old Ancient Ruby. Hello, Ancient Ruby. I haven't been rude to you, have we? Now, I'm not a BS. No, of course you're not, Ancient Ruby.
No, we wouldn't say that in any way, shape, or form.
I mean,
no, that's not what we
don't you worry, Ancient Ruby. You're all right. There we go. And
you see, that's what real witnesses do. They will correct you. They don't care if they've insulted you or offended you. As long as they tell you the truth. And, you know, Ruby's right. She's like, no, that's not what I said. This is what I said. This is what I said. My man can be a bit like that when people kind of question him about his the missing time part of his event. So if you start asking him questions about that, he can't answer them. No. He can't answer them because it's missing time. There's nothing there for him.
Yeah.
But they're kind of insistent that he must know the answers to what happened then.
Well, what gets me, though, going back to bullshit, is that when you look at the BBC, I often said this, there's always the bow-tied wonder, who's the Professor Plonker, who just denies everything. I mean, have you been confronted by Professor Plonker types where they've always got funny shoes on, trousers about 4 inches above the ankle, and here is Professor Plonker. Now, Deborah, we've scientifically researched into Bigfoot, and we can categorically say there was no sightings outside the university, and so that proves that they don't exist. Yeah, that sort of type of
I wouldn't give him the time of day, Chris. In the beginning, I might have done. In the beginning, I might have fought me corner with him. But he's made his mind up before he sat in chair. So two ends to that stick that he's trying to beat me with there. I can either listen to his one opinion, or I can listen to all of the other people that come to me with genuine experiences and say, which, in the balance, Deb, which one would you rather spend time with? Yeah. And I'm never going to pick him. I'm never going to pick the expert. Because experts, once they've made their mind up, Chris, there's no more learning.
You're spot on, yeah. But the trouble is with the BBC, I've noticed whenever they did a documentary, I mean, I haven't watched television for 10 years, but whenever they did a documentary, I was particularly interested on one that was really interesting about, what's it called? It's the Yeti in the Andes, not Andes, what's it? It's the Yeti bet. What's it called in Russia?
Almaster. Yeah, the wild man Alma.
And they did. What on earth was that strange noise? Anyway, never mind. But what I was going to say is, this place is haunted, I think. What happened is they did a very interesting documentary where there's scientists in Russia looking into this situation, and there's children that saw footprints, and children are less likely to lie.
Yeah.
And it was very good. And then, of course, the first half hour, it gets you hooked. You think, that's interesting. And the last half hour is Professor Plonker. You know, the bow tie, stunk under his These scientists in Russia look like complete idiots. And this is what the BBC and the mainstream media does all the time. And that's why late Dave Starbuck, the BBC, approached him several times to go on their shows, and he said, no way.
I'm very dubious. I do very few TV. Yeah. I find the Americans are more respectful.
Yeah,
really?
Far more respectful. At least when they come, whenever I've worked with TV companies, I tend to find that people abroad are far more politer than the Brits. The Brits always want it for nothing, regardless of how long it takes. And I won't work with the BBC. I've turned jobs down simply because they have been for the BBC. I won't do them. And that's more or less. So I might always just never do that because I don't want to make any money for them. And for the reason that you said, they're not looking at things from 7 different angles. They've made the mind up. They want to pay me to read a script.
That's right. And they are
doing the usual thing of holding a teaspoon of seawater up and saying sharks don't exist because there's none in this.
Exactly.
Precisely.
Best analogy I've heard. Yeah. That's kind of what it's like. The Americans are interested in, they want to know, they're interested in finding out more about Sasquatch and UFOs and whatever it is that the TV shows about at the time. They have a genuine interest. So they want to hear from a skeptic, they want to hear from a believer, they want to hear from a witness. The UK is very different. It's they build you up and then they go for the jugular.
Yeah, they do.
That's right. You're spot right on there. And what this means is that, to me, science is a religion. And BBC promote this agenda and this form of religion. Now, all right, science is good. It's brought us computers and things like that. But there's certain things that science does not have an answer for. And they believe that science has an answer for everything, and it doesn't have an answer for everything.
No, and you can't disqualify something because you don't have scientific evidence. What's that saying? Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. So just because you believe that there is nothing out there that can be proved scientifically doesn't mean that there isn't anything out there. It just means you can't test for it now.
That's right. Well, we've just had a surprise comment in, and we've got people from Denmark.
Oh, that's fantastic.
AHGM. Hi, Chris. Love your show. Watch them all with great pleasure. Friends from Denmark.
Oh, that's lovely.
Hello, from Denmark. So that's another country. So we've got the Netherlands, Denmark, Germany, Siam. That's John in Siam. I say Siam, it's the old name for the place because to get around censors and things. And of course, America. So we're really international now. And of course, Fockham Hall, which is the.
Yes, you need the advert for Fockham Hall.
We're not doing it.
Hang on, should we have the advert for Fockham Hall? Where are we? We've got to have it here. Hang on, I've got the baboon's bum now. Where is it? That's good, isn't it? You know, I'll be there in a minute. I've got this great list here. I'm trying to follow. Yeah.
But you know, I'm going to go in a cold shower, mate. I'm giving you 10 more minutes, and I'm going to go and stand in the shower.
Well,
till it hurts my head.
Well, do you know, I had a shower before I came on, and I don't know why I bothered because I feel exactly the same as before the shower.
So, Yes. Some days when I don't think people realise when you're recording audio, you've got to have all of your windows shut. You can't have the fan on. You can't even have the light sometimes because it'll affect your audio. So you can be there doing like a 3-hour job and you're ready for jumping out the window. Yeah. And they're patting your head so you're not sweating.
Yeah.
Blowing fans at you so you can't get your breath. Yeah.
Well, yes.
What was on behind the scenes? I've clicked the wrong one. Sorry, that was me.
To be honest, I haven't been very sweaty this time when it's been hot. Normally over here, I'm sweating buckets, and abroad it's like a dry heat, and I don't sweat. But I've kind of like done the dry heat abroad thing here.
Oh, just like it's cooling down. Actually, it's going grey. I was trying to send Chris some chemtrail photos that I took last night from when I were on Mo. I'll do it when I finish because they were unbelievable.
Yeah,
like, there's no pollution up there when you're up there, and the chemtrails were just started.
Oh, I love it up there.
But the sky went purple and pink. It were absolutely beautiful, but it showed them up more, if you get what I mean. So I got some cracking photos of it last night.
Yeah.
Right. I think this might be the advert. Do you know, it's definitely here, but it's hiding itself.
Hello.
There it is. Is this one?
Are you partial to something a little different? Do you like to give the two-finger salute to mainstream media? Then look no further than Fockham Hall Radio. With its charming mix of information and lots of archive footage, it really is a treat for the senses. You will surely exclaim, well, butter my crumpets, when you peruse all that Fockham Hall has to offer. So, just pop along, quick sticks, to www.fockhamhallradio.com. You'll be assured of a super spiffing time, and as we like to say, Fockham Hall. Fockham Hall.
Oh, that's good. Love it.
And I hope that all the audience tonight it won't be this Thursday, but we're working for possibly the Thursday afterwards. We're going to do a radio show.
Oh, bloody brilliant.
Advert and it'll be Yorkshire Deb and
yes,
that as well, and all the usuals on there. We're going to try and get Miles Fleetwood, Dr. Fleetwood, on as well. So we're going to be, and that'll be the wellbeing thing. And of course, we'll also have some upline news about the new Prime Minister of Fockham Hall, who's Roger, surname Ring.
Roger Ring the cat.
Roger Ring. Here he is, Roger, surname Ring the cat. And I have heard from an insider, there's no bullshit here, of course, that Joe Biden likes Roger Ring the cat. Yes. Nothing rude, of course. That's it. Yes, that's Roger, surname Ring the cat. I actually told some people this the other day. And it went down like a level blue. Roger Ring. That's strange. Why has the cat got a surname?
Whoosh.
Yeah,
You're calling 84, I'll have you know.
That's right. So we got the adventures of Roger Ring the cat. You see,
We'll be finding out what he's been up to.
Oh, I'm melting.
But when you look at, for example, the ultimate in bullshit is acting, really, because actors are somebody that and crap actors like I won't say one, who can't act.
Mm.
I mean, let's face it. I'm sure he's a very nice bloke, very pleasant person. I've never met him, but he's the same person in every film, isn't he? He can't change.
I don't know what we're on about.
I don't know. He did that Phil that your nana does, doesn't he, where he went?
Yes. Yeah, no. It's another thing. If you notice with bullshit, if a person's in a senior position and they're not, their name's always whispered. He's a senior position.
Yes.
It's always quite, he's a top mason.
I don't have any social filters. I must be broke, me, or something.
I don't either.
Oh, yeah.
I do that kind of thing.
That'd be me. Yeah. I didn't realise I was broken until I started doing this live.
You learn all sorts, Deb.
But anyway, so we're going to have hopefully a dictionary of bullshittery. So because I haven't told you about the is it done yet? So have you heard about the is it done yet?
No.
No. So when you asked in to do a project, which would normally take, say, 6 weeks, you get the permanent staff who are a bit pissed off because they've made the balls up. See? So you're sitting there and you just start working and somebody comes along and says, is it done yet?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
No,
and you have to explain to them why you haven't done 6 weeks' work in half an hour. And then another one comes up, is it done yet? And you sod off. And it's a bit like kids in a car. Are we there yet?
Are we there?
Yeah.
No, you'll be the first thing.
No, we just set off.
Have you not finished that yet?
Yeah.
I know I only messaged you yesterday, Deb, but I emailed you as well. Have you not done it yet? No one thought
that email.
Yes.
Like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
I tried to phone you. That's another one, bullshit.
Yeah. I didn't answer because I wouldn't randomly phone you in the middle of the day, so I don't know why I think it's okay to do it to you. Please contact me.
Another term is if you're going to meet somebody, what kept you?
Yeah.
Well, I really didn't want to come, so I was debating round the corner for half an hour, having my own little coffee and a pastry, and whether I was going to actually turn up today or not.
But these are sort of nice. It's really like, because really what it is, it's condescension, isn't it?
Yeah.
The bullshit like to be condescending because they are in a senior position in their own minds.
Yeah.
And I tell you, it's always uniformed. Apart from firemen, they don't seem to be bullshitters. But the NHS is, it's bullshit.
Anyway, many middle management and above you're aiming for there, Chris. Anyone middle management or above?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my uncle used to have a card. Seriously, he had these cards printed. And when he's talking to someone, he gave him a card. It just says, I'm a great bullshitter myself, but please continue. I love listening to an expert. And he used to get the cards. But really, when you look at, I mean, how can anybody work in a House of Commons full of bullshitters? Complete bullshit all day, every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
you're getting paid almost 100 grand for it, aren't you? I reckon I could
put up with anything for that.
You know.
Well, that's right.
It's the power again, Chris. It's back to power again, isn't it? It's there because they're not going to stand up and say you're wrong, because that could pull that ivory mat from underneath them, couldn't it? Yeah. We need a Zelensky. We need somebody who's been brought up how 80% of the real world live.
Yeah, instead of the yes men.
Yeah, who recognise the struggle. People who will say, actually, no, I don't think it's okay that you've got 5 holiday homes. That's not okay. And I don't think it's okay that I have to pay for your house because you don't want to travel to Parliament.
Yeah.
I don't want to get a bus in the morning at 7:30 when I've got 2 kids to get to school and a full-time job to go to. I don't have obviously I don't do that now, but I spent my life doing it. I don't have a whole lot of respect for politicians, to be honest, because they get absolutely nothing done.
I've got no respect for
them. An awful lot of money for getting absolutely nothing done.
Exactly.
Now,
Yeah.
the point of a politician, you see, is to be seen to be doing, but not exactly doing anything. So if you do something as a politician, that's the worst thing you can do. It's like the civil service. Now, I've never worked for the civil
Don't
service.
stand out. Don't stand out from the crowd.
And they've got to be seen to be doing, but not doing anything. Now, I actually witnessed this when I had that high blood pressure. I was sitting in A&E with my blood pressure going through the roof. And I'm sitting there watching people almost dying in there. And there's a male nurse, she said. I watched him for about an hour, and he had this simple piece of paper in his hand. All he did was walk around, bored shitless, walking backwards and forwards. And the same amount of people in A&E, 4 or 5 hours wait, you sat there. Why, I do not know. And in the first place, there's 12 people average there, and it's 3 hours wait. So why is it 3 hours wait? And the reason why is the staff are not motivated. The staff are getting the money, whether they do their job or not.
Yeah.
So they'll sit there and do their computer games and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if they had somebody like Patton come in there and say, what are you doing? Right, you're fired. Get out. Now
And
some
that's
but.
what matrons were for.
That's why we had matrons. She's right.
Yeah, like Hattie Jakes.
Yes.
Matron.
None of that messing about when you had a matron. Matron would have you off that visiting ward in like hours. The day after I had my first daughter at 19, a matron told me to get off the bed and stop feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah.
I was only laid down because it'd been
No, they
stick.
had a baby.
Oh, yeah. And she literally came in and said, get up off that bed.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
It's a bit to sit up, you know. I don't really know. Come on, let's have you up off this bed. Yeah, we need matrons. Matrons are like, why is there 12 people out here and they've not been seen to?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've got another good bullshitting one before we disappear.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
I used to know somebody who picked a clipboard and a pen up and wandered around with it, so he wasn't asked to do anything because he was busy.
Yes.
Wandering
Really?
around with his pen.
Hmm.
And nobody was to do anything because he was busy. Or he looked like he was busy.
That's the thing. When you see, we was next to the civil service. Never ever not have a piece of paper in your hand.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
If
no,
you're closet, have a piece of paper. Might be toilet paper, but have a piece of paper in your hand. And look, a sense of urgency. Because again, the civil service, you've got to be seen to be busy, but not doing anything.
Yes.
So you send memos to people all the time. Pointless meanings, and the more meaningless they are, the better they are.
What was
So-
that guy called you? I'm sure it wasn't Alton Park, but it was something like that. And he basically turned up every day and took money in the parking lot.
Well, I heard this one, yeah.
And one day he just didn't turn up. So the council phoned and said, why is that guy not come? And they were like, I don't even know who you're talking about. So the theme park were like, well, they thought they'd employed him. They thought they'd employed him. And every day he'd stuck there and just took the money.
Yeah.
That's brass neck, as he'd say where I come from. How brass neck is that? Yeah.
Good for him in many ways, because he made a pile out of it, obviously.
Yeah.
But,
I wonder how many of him there are around the country, though.
I know of one.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's Bradford Airport. There's a road that drops down, and there was a viewing area. My dad used to take me to it years ago. There's a viewing area, and it's, oh God, you go sideways in the car to get onto it. It's all like hardcore. And
Yeah.
anyway, every time Concorde came into Leeds Bradford Airport, this bloke used to stand at the entrance. Nobody knew who he was. They thought he owned the property, the bit of land. He used to stand there taking a fiver off everybody. Every time Concorde came in, I bet he were a bloody millionaire, that bloke.
I bet he was. I bet he afforded that land at the end, yeah.
But nobody knew him.
Genius, isn't
That's
it?
brilliant. I'll tell you the one I like, though. You're on a phone call, important phone call. This phone call will be recorded for training purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because I think you're a bleeding crook, or you're going to say something
No,
rude to F off. And the other one is, for your safety, security cameras operate in this store.
Yeah.
So does that mean if the security camera wasn't there, the roof would fall in?
Yeah. Possibly.
Or one of the shells might fall over on you? So why is it for your safety they've got security cameras?
Because he sacked the security guard.
Yeah.
So when the several heroin addicted addicts come running out with their packs of Lurpak and beef, and tins of tuna, then and you're attacked in that struggle, it's not the shop's fault because they warned you that there was, that is liability in it. There's no accountability for anything anymore. There's a shop round here, and it's so old-fashioned that if they catch you stealing in it, they put your name in the window.
Really?
Oh yeah, they put your name in the window.
I love that.
That's brilliant. And picture, hopefully.
That's what they do.
Yeah, that's a bloody good. I bet it's a small shop, isn't it? A family-owned shop.
It's not. It's a chain of shops.
Really?
And what they realised was phoning the police out for anything under £20 was just the police wouldn't do anything. So they actually says if you come in this store and steal a small amount, like a packet of crisps, we will put your face and your name in the window. Yeah. And if you steal anything over that amount, I think it's like £8 or something, we will fine you £250.
Yeah.
Good.
So because their hands are tied now, so the security guards can't lay hands on them, the police can't lay hands on them, and the shop workers can't lay hands on them. So those shoplifters know that they can walk out.
Yeah.
So they do say now that, all right, you might not get a criminal record, but you will be fined £250. It's just one way of doing it, isn't it? To shop.
It is.
Well, the market near where I live, there's it's there on Wednesdays and Fridays, and I know a couple of market traders there, very nice people. One bloke said that he saw a couple of, shall we say, colonial people, Somaliland, literally walking along and just picking up stuff from the stores and just shoving it in their pockets and just thieving as if as if they got a right to do it. He said just blatantly like that. And he said people are just sort of like this. And he said the store, I said, "Oh, excuse me, I got that." And the bloke just get it out of his pocket and just throw it over his shoulder and just carry on. And he said this is happening now because what we've got. See, I live in Hertfordshire, yes, but we've got this tidal wave of the, shall we say, the scum of London. Not everybody from London's scum, I hasten to add, but the scum of London just easing out, and it's going into the provinces and it's moving out because they're gentrifying London. So they're moving all the shit out of London.
Pricing us out is what they're doing. They're pricing us out of our own area, aren't they? So they push it further and further away.
Right.
But
because they're going to have these central cities, aren't they? We're going to be in. They want to take people out the countryside, as Ceausescu tried to do. That's what.
And I mean, for me, it's a person thing. I don't really see it as like a typical race or anything like. Because I've worked in shops, so I've seen shoplifters in all shapes and sizes, and you'd be amazed what little old ladies get away with.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes they're the absolute
shopping trolley behind you.
Yeah, I've seen them with a pricing gun. So they will go around the shop and literally price their own stuff. They will do everything they can to get in the back of that store and nick that pricing gun. Yeah. I've had people offer me money to take the D-tagger off the till.
Yep.
So that they can go around and just D-tag all of the clothes that they want to D-tag. I've watched people walk in and take a Dyson Hoover and just walk out and put it in the car and drive off. Security guard stood there, did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Because he just,
But what gets me in every, I'm not against anybody race or religion or anything like that. In every race, there's a scum.
Yeah, that's it. That's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with the scum of all of us. Like this. Watch out as well.
That's the thing. And that's the trouble. They make it bad for the really nice folk, and that's what gets me. But we got an interesting one here. Paul Johnson. Morning, obviously in New Zealand.
We've sent you some healing.
Some healing there. And
when my dad had the market stall, Debbie, we'd go, like, you get up bright early when you do the market stall, and we once saw a woman climb into a charity bin and pull all of the clothes out to her husband, and they went to the same market as us.
That's mad.
Yeah.
I've got a funny one about when my mum worked at Asda for months and months. A bloke used to come into Asda and he wore clogs. And it clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop, all the way along the store, and people just used to look up and go, "The bloody hell's that?" And then they'd see him, and then that'd be it.
Clog, yeah.
He was filling his trolley with joints of meat and just walked straight out. And they didn't click on because he was making so much noise. It was like an irritant. It was irritating people.
Yeah, if you want to stand out, they don't they? Yeah. Oh my God. I
Have you
dash.
seen those YouTube videos? What is it? People of what's that American store? People of Walmart.
Our Asda, yeah.
Yeah. Well, those people of Tesco's. Because when you see something, I saw a woman, an elderly woman. She must have been 80s easily, and she's with her husband, who was well dressed, and all she had on was a dressing gown. That was it. Barefooted. And they were quite well off, this people, because I saw them getting into a Mercedes when I was outside, but she had nothing on underneath, and she's walking with just an open front, just with her husband. Flasher.
I the same thing, Chris, but it wasn't the same woman. A car pulled up at the top of the street.
She was ugly as hell as well.
I looked out, Deb. I thought, what's she got on? This woman got out of the car and all she had on was a towel.
That's it. But she's walking along, she's like one of those toweling sort of bathrobes.
Yeah.
And it wasn't buttoned up. And there's a husband next to her who's quite smartly dressed. She's just walking around, you know. Oh, she had some pom-pom type
Slippers on.
So she just got out of the shower, I suppose, put that on, thought, oh, I'll just go down to the supermarket. Didn't give a shit.
Oh, me now would be spinning in a
She was.
outside in your house coat. What's wrong with you, love?
Yeah. My grandma would have big coat buttoned up and headscarf on and everything.
Grandma would say, do you know where it?
Yeah,
You'd have a nice entire conversation like that, cross lane fairer, out in a house coat in the street. Who she thinks he's kidding?
Or my mum used to say, what is it now? All something and no niggers, wasn't it?
Oh, no knickers.
That's it, all frock and no knickers, you know. But
Top shop, all fur coat, no knickers.
And there's also a bloke that walks around, well, I think it's a bloke, someone's walking around Tesco's with, I think it's a fella actually, with tights on, but the ones that you don't go over your shoes, over what they call them, where you see your feet. Yeah, pot socks on, pair of shorts, all these dangly earrings on, and it's a bloke. He's walking around
living his best life.
People of Tesco's, yeah, but people of Walmart. I think we're in competition with Walmart because I think Tesco's. Sorry, although you're saying Asda, we are. That's interesting. People of Asda.
Oh, yeah. I live in some rough areas around here, Chris.
If
it's all right with you guys, I am gonna have to. I can't take my pain anymore. I'm gonna have to. I can't get my legs to move. No, it's okay.
But,
I didn't take my
the bullshit story. I'm going to tell.
It's been so warm. I didn't want to take them, but my legs have gone completely numb. I'm going to have to get my aunt to come and get me off the bed.
Well, I wish you better. We go healing vibes.
All right. Thank you to everybody that tuned in tonight. And I'm sorry I'm going. It's just really, really warm. And I'll be back next week, I promise.
Oh, yes, please. See you, Deb. Bye.
Good night, everyone. Night.
Thank you very much, Deb. And we'll be going soon. But I'll tell you, I'll finish with this little story about bullshit. And make up your own mind whether it's true or not, okay? My sister, who I don't get on with, told me this years ago, and it happened to a friend of hers' mother in a shoe shop. Now, make up your own mind whether it's true or not. I don't know. I'm just telling you this story, you see. And it's a bit crude. This friend's mother worked in this shoe shop, and the bloke came in one day and said, "Excuse me," at the fart, you see. Can you, I'd like to have a pair of shoes, please. So she said, certainly, see. And he was a bit of a suave git, you see. And he said, I don't mind the cost. Don't matter about the cost. I want the best pair of shoes you got. So she said, okay. She said, well, we've got these, I don't know, leather, real leather, hide or whatever it is. So he goes, so she puts his leg up. There they used to put your shoe on for you.
Yeah.
Shoe on for you. Some of the staff are opening the window. It's getting a bit.
No.
And she said, and eventually he said, yeah, you should have those shoes. He said, but you haven't told me how much they are. She said, well, I didn't tell you in case you shit yourself. So, now, whether it's true, I don't know. But
I've got a joke very similar to that.
Hello, what's happened here? I got me. That's it. Sorry, something's just flashed up in front of the camera and then back again. It was
strange. Yeah, I've got a joke very similar to that where a young man goes to his girlfriend's house to meet the parents for the first time and he's really nervous, so he's got the farts. So anyway, can't hold it in. He's sat around the dinner table, so he farts and the dad looks under the table and goes, Rover. And he thinks that's the dog. Well, I'm in here, so he's just farting away all through dinner. And then every time he farts, the bloke looks under the table and goes, Rover. So he's like, relaxes in a bit and, anyway, he does this massive, great big fart and the bloke lifts the tablecloth up, goes, Rover, get away from that bloke before he shits all over you. I'm not all sweetness and light,
I worked with a bloke with a bulldog. He reckons that they fart.
Oh, God, yeah, they do.
Farting.
Yeah, they're bad.
When the guests come in, this thing will always fart. And it's the worst bog ever. Because, they're sort of, all dry.
Drooly.
Yeah, when they're eating, they get taking a lot of air.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. Rover, get away from that bloke. That's got me. It's worse than William Shatner, isn't it?
Yeah. Shut the pants.
We got here from, was it V. McCrinnan? He says, ex-cabinet MPs get £100,000 per year for life.
Yep.
Just for having been a member of the cabinet. It's a wonder the Tories aren't playing musical chairs in here. Yeah. Yeah. But I've actually got to the point now, I couldn't really give a shit what they say.
No.
I really couldn't give a shit. I don't vote. I couldn't give a shit. Because,
I don't listen to any of it.
Yeah. Yeah. But
I didn't even know Boris had left for a week.
Well, that's it. And was it? Oh, the member of the opposition has said this. So what?
Who gives a shit?
Yes, it. He says it. We had a guy do that in Bristol. What fart? He even provided his own booth. No one sussed it till he didn't turn up one day, and it caused a massive gridlock. Oh, yeah.
Where's that bloke? What bloke?
Oh, that was a car parking bloke. Because there was a fella that stood in front of a cash point machine, dressed as a security guard, and had a box in front of him. And he said, this was when cash point machines were first started, and said, the machine's a big sign up, all Presley printed. Machine has gone out of action. Please drop your cash into this box. People did it. He made a fortune, this fella. It's amazing. People are so bleak and gullible.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, really.
So, now it says, we got ancient Ruby. It says here, so much fear is put into our lives, then when someone does something like that, it goes unnoticed because not expected. You're right.
It's quite
You're
true.
right. It's not expected. It's. I think that when you look at it, hang on, what's this? Ancient Ruby says, did you ever see the Walmart woman in a full fishnet stock? He's a bloke. I saw it. Some of those people are hideous, aren't they? There's sort of rolls of fat.
Just not good. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing there. Something's just popped up. There we go. I think Deborah's right about gremlins.
Yes. I think there's something weird going on with us tonight. Hang on. We got Sebastian Moran. Even what tonight, Sebastian? Skull, everyone.
You need a note from your parents if you're going to be late.
That's right. And hopefully John will be back soon. And it's a shame about his battery. No, he's actually gone to visit some friends and his battery's gone, which is a funny time of the year for it to go.
It is really,
normally January, isn't it? Mind you,
it's normally winter.
Yeah, but I tell you what I do. I buy it off from eBay. And they arrive next day. Battery, bloody good, yeah. And I buy my tyres off eBay as well and get someone to fit them for me.
Yeah.
I don't go to these shit fits and places, things like that.
Avoid all them places.
That's right. Well, if you could put your thumb up, on here, that's it. And subscribe. It costs absolutely nothing. Ding a little bell. Ding, 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 ding to remind you when we're coming on again.
Yeah.
And also, if you look below here, no, not my crutch, but below the comment section. I don't think you want to look down there, especially tonight. It's very warm.
Shorts on, have you?
No.
Have you come free at the side?
I just do something. I've got white legs that don't tan. So you
Right.
imagine I've got shorts and these sort of like matchsticks.
Spindly little matchsticks.
Yeah, it's like,
Do you look like Charles Hawtrey in Carry On Camping?
that's it, just like that, you know. But I'm not that way inclined. But no, oh crumbs. But I don't know what it is. I don't. I can sit in the sun all day and my legs are still white as a sheet.
Weird.
It's weird, isn't it? The rest of me goes all tan. Look, my arms all tan, but
Yeah.
my legs, you know, being English, I suppose. But anyway, so if people could look below in the comments, you'll see Deb's website, both Deb's their websites. And if anybody wants to buy me a cup of coffee, it's a bit thirsty tonight, it goes below there. So if you like the show, it's only a £5, you know, shove it in the old plate and saves us having to pay the old mouth organ and banjo outside Tesco's. That's it. And the dog on a bit of string, you know, and all that. So, you know, but anyway, I hope you can join us next week, same time, same place. And also, additionally, not this Thursday, but the Thursday after, there'll be a radio show.
Oh, yes.
It's my hunch is that, first of all, I said, oh, radio's old fashioned. And people said, no, we prefer to hear it on a podcast and on a train, or if they're in an aircraft, they can hear it driving, all these places. And I often listen to shows from my computer, you know, when I'm washing up and things like that, because I don't listen to mainstream media at all. I just shit. But the thing is that it's going to be a gamble whether it's going to work or not. There's going to be a chat room as well, live chat room on there. I'm hoping to get all that done. And kicking and screaming, I think Miles might be coming on first of all. So that's going to be, and he's going to hopefully be talking about vitamins and minerals, how not to get ripped off. Because if you go to cheap places, you pay more, because one of his minerals is 400 times more powerful than what you buy in the cheap shops. 400 times. So that
getting in the cheap shops really is a bit of chalk, isn't it?
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Deb.
You're welcome.
And I really enjoyed tonight. And,
I did. It was good.
It's a good, but I tell you so, it's bleeding hot, isn't it? Do you know
28 degrees and it's 10 to 10.
It's 31 in there. Anyway, good night, folks. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody in chat. And sorry I can't read all your comments out, but we do read them afterwards.
Yeah.
So have a nice week. We'll see you next week.
See you next Monday. Bye.
Good night.